What's up, Rotogrinders? Welcome to a special edition of the FanDuel Friday Strategy Breakdown show. I'm here with one of the very best DFS players in the entire business, Drizzy26. Andre, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good, glad to be here today on this beautiful Saturday, Friday. I feel it's already the weekend, but it is the weekend with being Friday. Hopefully give some people some plays. We got a nice big slate today. Feel like that was pretty straightforward. So from what I got a quick first glance at it, but here to break it down, let's give some people some good plays and win some money.
Let's do it. And I woke up to a tough start of the day, if I'm being honest. I always like starting my research with Roth's weather report. And what did Roth's weather report consist of today? It consisted with him going at me on Twitter, talking about how I used to be good at basketball, putting a little poll with to all of his followers with the basketballs and the stars by his name and a little baby by my name. I can't wait to come show this guy up. Let me tell you,
man. Honestly, that's one thing I really honestly can say I've been looking forward to since being a part of the RG team. So I know they normally get together like during the Super Bowl and have like that basketball game. And I used to play ball myself, so I'm actually really, really excited for that. To get out there, see who can play ball, who can't play ball, and also just to see how it is. I think it'll be a good time overall. Then go drinking afterwards. But you got the trophies and you play for the team, so you might got it over everybody.
we'll see. We'll see. I admit I'm not in as anywhere close to as good of shape as I was a few years ago. Since the pandemic started, I've kind of just stopped with exercise. But the thing that always made me good at ball was my mind. So I'm excited about it. We'll have to link up on the same team. That's two things we're walking in. Dre and I are going to play on the same team in the RG basketball game, and I will have the Spider-Man tattoo right here before that RG basketball game when we link up. That's the deadline I'm putting on it. I've been getting so busy with wedding stuff. My wedding's in 2 weeks, so had to put that on the back burner a little bit. But let's get into the slate. We have a couple minor weather issues, but nothing to worry about right now. Nothing Roth won't cover on crunch time. So I think we can just dive right into it. And let's start with pitching. We have Garrett Cole as the projected chalk on a large slate, 25, maybe 20 to 30% ownership on him. And it's such an insanely good spot against this AAA Kansas City Royals lineup. The upside is immense. The downside is very little. But we have so many great pitching options on this slate with who aren't picking up ownership. We got Justin Verlander up top. We got Shane Bieber. We got Kyle Wright. We got Brandon Woodruff. We have Alek Manoah. We have Robbie Ray. We have Martin Perez. If you want to get cheap, we got a high strikeout guy in Patrick Sandoval. We got Blake Snell. We got Alex Cobb against the high strikeout Chicago Cubs team. We got Lance Lynn below 8K at 7.5 against the Oakland Athletics. You can't pick a much better lineup than that. And then you also have a young pitcher like Bailey Falter, who Eric Beimfors has tagged in lineup HQ here with a good projection. What do you make out of this pitching slate today, where we have some real strong options that are picking up some ownership, and then some good ones too that are seemingly going to go overlooked?
To me, today's is just a perfect day to MME. Like, there's just so many good options today, and I feel like you can't pass up on them all. So, and I think that's going to play key in today's pitching. Pitching is going to be by far, obviously, along with hitting, but pitching by far is going to be the what catapults you to the top and getting one of these low-owned guys to go with your stacks. To me, are going to be the way to win tonight. And it's tough. It's not like it's a simple set. Like you said, you broke down where you have like Verlander, Cole, Bieber, you got Woodruff, you got even Wright, Manoah, Ray. You got a couple other pitchers in there that are high strikeout pitchers that also do have the upside to get close to a place of where Garrett Cole or Verlander can get to. And that's the thing. If they can be within the vicinity, then paying up for like Cole or Verlander might not be needed necessarily. So it's an interesting one, and I think we just have a lot of options that we can definitely go with, and mainly those guys that you mentioned is what I would stick to a lot of.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And this sucks, man. My phone is just going off right now. And I'm thinking maybe there's big news, stuff like that. It's just all the people asking Roth weather questions in the Twitter thread that I now am getting tagged in. I'm going to have to mute this conversation as the day goes on. But Garrett Cole is going to be so hard to get away from. He has a projection on, if we're using the BAT projections, he's got a 8-point projection, better than any other pitcher on the slate. It's just very tough to get away from that. And so I don't think I could be Xing him out of the pool no matter how many lineups I play. But being on crunch time today, I think I'm going to have a tough time MMEing. I usually just play one lineup on those slates. And so if you're in a one lineup situation today, are you going to eat that Garrett Cole chalk, or who are some of the guys you'd be looking to pivot off with?
I probably would, just because of the matchup against Kansas City, but it would be tough because I do like the matchup that Justin Verlander has against Seattle strikeout wise. Even though Seattle's been playing well lately, I still think Verlander's just an excellent pitcher overall. Gives him obviously fly balls here and there, but he's still nothing you can go with. But Lance Lynn would be my second choice, just because of the price point and the matchup against Oakland. It's like something that I think we can get comfortable with today. He obviously was not looking good in his first couple starts here. As you see, we have it pulled up here, but he's gotten better. And the strikeouts have seemed to start picking up a little bit there. So, and it's against Oakland, who isn't that very good of a team. So, and he's below 8K. Like that allows you to get probably different stacks and a lot of bats. So I think the ownership might actually maybe change a little bit, a little tiny bit. Maybe I think Lynn becomes maybe more like 25%. I think Cole maybe might reach up to maybe about 30%, maybe. Um, but it's just still tough because these other guys are in great positions as well. Like I mentioned, Lynn would be my second guy. Third guy might be a guy like Verlander that I mentioned before. I do like Alec Manoah a little bit, going against Detroit. And we know he has the upside too today, where he can strike out a lot of people. It's just a tough decision. And then Shane Bieber, he hasn't looked the same since since he came back from injury, as far as like a couple of years ago. Honestly, more so when he won me like a million. But look at what he has done though. He's putting up scores that I think are equivalent and equal to what Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander can get you. Obviously with the 58
Bieber's
there.
pitch count has just been absolutely off the charts lately.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a guy that I would probably be high on too as well, especially in a match against Tampa Bay. But I think that those would be like my main options to go with as far as to get off of the Garrett Cole chalk today.
And I think for me, if I were to be MMEing today, I think the two pitchers I would be most likely to try and get heavily overweight on would be Alec Manoah against Detroit, who is just dreadful against right-handed pitching. They're not bad against lefties. They're pretty horrible against right-handed pitching. And then the other one that I think I'd be looking to get quite a bit overweight on would be Brandon Woodruff. This Boston lineup we have is just not anywhere near as scary as they usually are. No Rafael Devers. And the thing that stands out to me is 5 lefties: Jarren Duran, Alex Verdugo, Franchi Cordero, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Yolmer Sanchez. None of those names, well, some of them aren't bad players. None of those names are particularly daunting. And Brandon Woodruff this season has a 41% strikeout rate to left-handed bats. So if we're going to see the majority of the lineup be lefties, and the only danger we really have in there being Bogarts, Martinez, who Bogarts had a big game yesterday. Martinez has been struggling. Bobby Dahlbeck is, yes, dangerous, but also a 31% strikeout rate. I think Brandon Woodruff has the most upside in comparison to his ownership today.
And I completely agree with you on that one. I forgot to mention him just because of the matchup against Boston. That makes everything a little bit more viable for me and having him as an option today.
And if we take it over to the bats, looking at stacks today, there's so many different pitchers we like. We want to diversify our pool. We're in a similar situation to yesterday, except there are more games on the slate, and people were conflicted with what to do in tournaments yesterday because obviously we were seeing high ownership to the Dodgers. I was of the mindset that they were just in so much better of a spot than anyone else that I'd rather double the field than fade them. It went well for MMEs. It didn't go well for my single entry lineup. I was 2 points short of the min cash because I stacked them with Detroit. That was disappointing. But here we have a bigger slate. There's more options. Having said that, the Dodgers have a 7.01 total. There's no one else on the slate over 6. And despite the slate being so large, we only have a couple other teams being over 5, with the Blue Jays being the next highest, the Yankees following them, and Milwaukee and St. Louis being the only other teams with above a 5 total. With all these different pitchers we like today, if you're running 150, what are your thoughts on just like trying to have a Dodger stack in every single one of your lineups and just getting that with all of these different pitchers?
I would definitely try to do that for sure. Dodgers are probably the best team, number one team overall to go with today. They have the most upside. For betting purposes, I bet the under on them yesterday, thinking because it was chorus they were going to put up like 7, 8 runs, but I think they had just hit the over. But it's just they're just in too good of a spot against a pitcher like Cole, who really isn't that good of a pitcher. So, and like I said, chorus being also the factor into it, it makes it helps it out a lot more too. So I would definitely make them. I would try to mix in also with primary stacks as well, and hope that I get maybe the top guys in my primary stacks that have the highest scores, because I think that they definitely have multiple players on their team that can easily be the highest scoring guys on the slate today. And I don't mind doing that and going with some of these other teams, these secondary teams as my main stack as well, like or primary stack like New York, St. Louis, who get Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado back, who I think are in store for maybe a huge game today. Um, Toronto, where you have where they're going against Detroit, and you have guys like um, what's his name there, Vlad Springer, Gurriel, a couple other guys there that are good, and Milwaukee going against Boston as well, where you have Renfro, to last just name a few guys that I like today off of those teams in Yelich. And so I kind of am geared to think maybe use them more as a secondary, but still keep them as a primary, and probably maybe be at the field primary wise, but overloading them on the secondary end. So that way I can just use my other primary stack as my leverage.
I'm with you there, and I think I'm definitely going to try and get heavily over the fields of the Dodgers. And the one that makes the most sense for me to mix in with them, I think, is going to be St. Louis, because we have guys. Not only do we have Arenado and Goldschmidt back, but we have Tyler O'Neill still heavily underpriced, Dylan Carlson still heavily underpriced. And if I want to play some infielders on the Dodgers, those guys are going to mix in really well. And while that will be chalky, if I'm mixing that in with a Garrett Cole or a Brandon Woodruff, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that quite as much. Before we get out of here, hit me with some of your home run plays for today. I got Spidey beside me here, and so I'll give out some of mine. I think Tyler O'Neill is gonna knock one out of the park. The Dodger, I think at the back of the lineup that's primed to hit one today is going to be Cody Bellinger. And then the last home run I'm going to fire out today is that Matt Chapman just simply keeps up his wild hot streak, and he's going to get another one out of there today.
I like that call. I like all of them today. I would say I definitely like Paul Goldschmidt to just bang one out. I like him and Arenado to just. I think they're gonna go crazy today. So I like them a lot. I do kind of like, even though I know like the matchup. The matchup is a great matchup for them, but they've been for some reason, like I did some research into it. They've been like on a cold streak against this pitcher. But I also like Austin Riley and Matt Olson to go yard too. But for some reason against Bumgarner, they have not been hitting well against him. But I think today is a different day, and I think that they end up performing really well. And I'll go with one more. Go with my Yankee guy here. I'll go with obviously the one and only Aaron Judge, who hit the walk-off home run yesterday. I think he goes back to back today and hit a home run, going against some of these against Bubix today.
That's a great call. I think we undersold it a little bit, but Aaron Judge, I think, is without a doubt the top play, not in Coors Field today, not in a Dodger uniform. And I think there are arguments to be made that he could be even surpassing the ones in a Dodger uniform with the matchup against Bubic. That has been this edition of FanDuel Friday. FanDuel, our sponsor, has some pretty solid contests out there today. You got 100K up top in the $444 contest. You got another live qualifier. You can come hang out with me in Chicago. And we also have the $4.44 one with 30K up top today. So pretty good prizes up top for the large slates on FanDuel. And if you want some more of Dre's takes, you're going to catch him on Grinders Live today with Chop and with Dean. And then I'll be on Crunch Time later with Cheese and Roth as well. Roth will break down the weather. Cheese will give us all the best plays, and I'll refine the takes that I had this morning. That'll do it for this edition of FanDuel Friday. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.